Welcome to Business News and Other Shit. I'm Amer. We got a great episode. Most importantly, episode number 50.
Oh.
50.
50. This will mark the end of season 1 of Business News and Other Shit. Woo!
Yeah.
Welcome to the season finale.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Said so perfectly by a film producer, Angie Gaffney, who's our badass guest, and so fitting for you to be episode number 50, season 1 finale guest.
I am so happy to be here.
Woo!
What
Thank
took
you
so
for
long to
being
get her
here.
on here is the
I know.
question.
Well, no, we had to wait for a good episode.
Oh, makes sense.
Is the bullshit reason.
The
I have
season
to-
finale. Now we're going to
The
find
season-
out that you two are twins. And
Right. Bachelor kind of bachelorette.
yeah,
The
we'll
reality TV series starts next time.
Yes.
We'll be back in September, you guys.
Season 2, episode 50. Nishad Barrow.
Yes, I'm
What's
back.
up? Every time you come, you know what? I'm not going to talk about Cincinnati this time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people think I'm from Cincinnati.
What? Because you're there so often now?
Yeah, because you probably mention it every time I
know,
show
right?
up.
Yeah.
They be like,
Nishad
is
is
he
not from
always here?
Cincinnati. Not at all. Nishad's from Oklahoma City.
yes, I'm from OKC. No, I'm from Chicago, South Side.
Southside.
South Side of Mars.
Side.
Yep. 81st and Cottage Grove.
That's where you live?
No,
Okay.
that's where I used to live. No, yeah, you could go there if you want to. You can see my old house. It'll be an apartment
Yeah.
on the corner. by
Reminisce
this
about the
gas
days that
station.
I never used to go there.
Yep. Man, good old days.
The good old days. I mean, I grew up not far from there. I spent a ton of time in Hyde Park, right off of Cottage Grove.
Yep.
Like
Sure.
63rd in Cottage Grove, 55th in Cottage Grove.
Oh, I
so-
used to go to school over there.
Kenwood?
No, I went
over
to
there?
the school called University of Chicago,
That's
Woodlawn
right.
campus.
That's right. I
Charter
remember I
school.
saw that on your Facebook. And I was like, what? You went there?
Yeah, I went there.
Cool.
It's a funny school.
I mean, I don't even know what that. I've never heard of that school. University of Chicago Woodlawn Campus.
It's a long ass name. Yeah, they call it UCW. Yeah, it was. I went there for
High
how
school,
long?
college.
No, 2 years. High school. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. It was a startup school. It was a charter school, and they used to give us laptops and whatnot.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
That was the
and
highlight.
people used to get robbed for their laptops.
Oh, really?
Swear to God.
How many laptops did you steal?
I had a laptop. I had no need to fucking steal one. But
What's funny about Nishad? Today, Nishad
right.
walked in. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you gonna finish up?
no,
Please.
Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I gotta bring up this thing. Yeah, I'm glad you're giggling now
Okay.
because you walked in a huff. You're like, oh, whew. I'm like, what's up? He's like, man, the bus driver, man. I'm like, what? What happened with the bus driver? And he's like, he just told me that when I got on the bus ain't clean.
Oh my God, it made me so mad. I got on
the germaphobe, and he said the bus ain't clean.
No. That is not. That is not how.
For those
he,
listening, before we hit record, we were talking about germs and who's a germaphobe and what's
Oh, yeah.
bathroom etiquette. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay, so the bus driver, I got on, and he was like, "Yeah, this bus gonna stop at Kedzie," and everybody was like, "Why?" He's like, "The bus is dirty," and just pointed to the back of the bus, and we looked back. And there was nothing. It was like no dirtier than any other bus that I've ever been on. And I was just like, what's dirty about it? And black people, when they hear something that's dirty or something's dirty, they be like, oh, okay. It just take it for fact. They just be like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, it's just dirty. I was like, no, what's dirty about the bus? Like, there's nothing dirty. He's just like, yeah, you just can't sit right here. It just kept pointing back. Like, nothing. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this dude just wants to get off work early. And I'm
He
like,
wants a break.
yeah, I
He
was
wants a
like,
break.
okay.
Now, I was like, whatever, Nishad, why is that making you so upset? Like, I wouldn't expect you to be that upset. I mean, be annoyed, you know? But he was legit upset. I'm like, I haven't seen a shot like this. And then he explained his Florida story about a bus driver.
What's your Florida story?
And
Okay.
I think he's tainted. He's jaded from
so
Florida's situation.
here's what it is about bus drivers. They have union jobs, okay, and they're not going to get fired, in my opinion. Actually, this is fact. I don't care what anybody
Tell the
says.
story.
Union job. Okay, bus drivers got union jobs, and they're not going to get fired, so they could do whatever they want until. I mean, they could get fired, but they not going to get fired.
If you ain't gonna
Put it
tell the
like
Florida
that.
story, I'm gonna tell the Florida story.
I'm gonna tell it. I just wanted to let
I
the
really
people
wanna hear
know.
the Florida story.
I just wanted to let the people know why bus drivers are the way they are, and they be uppercutting people and doing all of this stuff. It's because they just know at the end of the day that ain't shit gonna happen to them. So, all right, my Florida story. I was in Florida. I was going to college, and I was running late. It takes 2 hours to get to my house to my college on the bus.
Wow.
Right? Yes. So the bus driver, I was halfway to the school. The bus driver was driving. And all of a sudden he just goes, everybody, I'm finna make a quick stop real quick. There's 30 people on the bus. We all running late. And we just like, why are you stopping? He stops, gets out the bus, goes into a Taco Bell, stays in there for like 20, 30 minutes. And we just all sitting on the bus, literally like hurt and confused, like what?
20, 30 minutes.
we're like, where did he go?
He not only ordered his food, but he sat down and had multiple chalupas.
Right, and came back in the bus with like a bag of food. It was like, all right, you guys, y'all ready to go? Like he was waiting on us or something. If y'all ready, I could drive. We like, bro, like what? Who just gets out the bus like that? And yeah, ever since then,
at that point, it's like you've lost. Like trying to get to your thing, you've lost. You should be like, yo, man, throw me a taco or something like that.
Right? Y'all want something? You want something? I'm going in there.
I'm taking orders. I ain't paying though.
Right. Everybody got to chip in because this union job.
When I heard that, I immediately knew that Nishad, at any bus driver, even the bus driver flinching the wrong way, is just gonna start tweaking. Like, what? I'm gonna whoop this bus driver's ass.
Man,
so
he had vitiligo too. If that
no way
adds
we're
anything.
stopping at Taco Bell.
He had vitiligo. What is that?
It's the Michael Jackson disease. This is where like you have like a certain skin complexion.
Condition?
Yeah, and then you have he was like a black dude right here, but a white dude right here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn, I don't even know what causes that. It's
and I wanted to just take a piece of chocolate and be like, move this bus.
Not the chocolate, right?
I'm not gonna lie, man. It feels racist by a black dude.
Yeah. Oh, well, I can say that.
Hey, you can, but just let him have his vitiligo.
Oh yeah, it had nothing to do with the story. I was just mad.
Let me tell y'all why. He's trying to fix his shit.
It's just like, this ain't dirty. Just go.
Here's why episode 50 is why Angie's on here. All right. On January 3rd, 2018, not this year, last year, right? 18 months ago, Angie sent me a message. So Angie runs Stage 18, which is a nonprofit. This is where we're at in Cinespace Studios. All right. Angie is the director of Stage 18. Is that your title?
Yeah, executive director.
Thank you very much. Executive director. Makes you sound way more important.
I know.
Executive director.
And so on January, so I work out of here. It's like a co-working space for independent film, independent TV guys, independent podcast producers, anyone creating independent entertainment. And she asked me on January 30th, she sent me an email. Hey, happy 2018. Can you share your goals for 2018 with me? And my first response was like, who the hell is she to ask me about my goals? Leave me alone. Like
right? Who you think she is? New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
Come on.
You ain't my you're not my mom. You're not my dad. Like, come on. And I'm like, and then that was the first voice. Second voice was like, damn. I think I just don't want to set any goals right now. I think that's what's really going on here.
Oh.
Right? And I'm like, all right, let me set some goals. I was like, number one, I want to put on a show, like a one-man show or a stand-up show for friends and family. Number two, I want to learn impressions, how to do impressions, like perform impressions. Number three, I want to put on a show on the web and build an audience, a following.
So how's those first two going?
Completely failed.
Oh, really? You don't have?
No, I did do a show for friends and family.
Okay.
I did not find anyone to help me with
you can't
impressions.
do one impression?
I mean, I can do impressions, but they're not very good. I want to get really good at them, you know?
Can you do a Rocky Balboa impression?
Rocky Balboa. No, Rocky Balboa. That was
I was like, I don't get it. What was that?
Oh, who is that?
That was the black dude, the Don King dude. Right? Don King. It was Don King.
No.
Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa.
Yeah,
I'm still losing.
Yeah.
It was in the movie with Tommy Morrison. Remember that one, Rocky V?
You mean, Sylvester Stallone?
Yo, Adrian!
There you go. I was like, who he doing?
Paulie.
Nixon?
Hey, Paulie. Hey, why don't you give me some egg yolks and put them in my chair just fell down.
My
chair just fell down.
full.
Hey, isn't Rocky 6 coming out or something like that? Or did it come out?
No, Rambo
That's
is
right.
coming out. Yeah.
Sly.
Yeah.
Sly.
He's going to be old as hell.
Sly.
He's going to have PTSD.
For
Double
sure.
D's.
Double
yeah.
D's, yeah. But number 3, Nishad, to answer your question, number 3 happened And we just completed episode 50 of the goal number 3. Thanks to Angie.
Dang.
She has a lot to do with
Tom.
that.
Well, I mean, it's so cool because when we were first talking, this was not what the show was. You were talking about a comedy series or all these sorts of things. And it's just so cool to see over a year and a half later how that germination of that idea came to be.
Absolutely. We make a goal, we set a goal, we think it's one thing, and then boom, it's something different. Be flexible.
Yeah.
So Angie, we'll give you a quick intro.
Okay,
So you are the executive director of Stage 18, but that's just one small thing that you do, right? Bigger picture, I see you as an entrepreneur,
Sure.
as a film producer.
Yep.
Okay, that's what you spent over a decade doing, and I see you to really invest in yourself. Since we're talking about investing and how to make some money, you also became a professor or at least an instructor of some sort at 3 different schools.
Yes,
Is that correct?
I started teaching at Columbia College in Chicago when I was 21.
21.
Wow.
Damn. And I assume you taught in the world of film production?
I did. I taught, at that time, I taught film producing and first assistant directing. Because that's how I got my start. And then I taught there for a handful of years. And then I had an adjunct position at DePaul, my alma mater,
Okay.
for a semester. Decided that the semester...
Teaching?
Teaching.
Got it.
Decided that the semester vibe was too much work given my 12 other titles. And I've been teaching at Harold Ramis Film School at Second City. I teach a producing intensive class there, and I've been with them since they started about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they loved you at 21. They were like,
Who's they? The students?
yeah, the students.
I mean, some of them were probably older than her, right?
I know. They was like,
most
so
of
you got the notes
They didn't get to know that, though.
Oh, they didn't know?
They didn't know. They didn't get to know until the end.
Oh, nice.
That was my play.
Good for
Oh,
you.
okay.
You
Smart.
played it off like you're older.
Totally.
Good for you.
Right, you had a cane. And
I had a cane. I dyed my hair gray.
Okay, yeah. I was
She
like,
played the
because you
part
still
really good.
look 21, I bet.
She just used Face App and then she put on that costume, you know?
Oh, man. Let's not talk about face.
Oh, it's
app.
coming up. It's coming up.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about...
I haven't done that yet.
This is be careful.
Don't.
Nishad's got strong opinions on that.
Yeah.
It's like 23andMe.
Yep.
Same
Yep,
thing.
Same thing.
but
They
so-
trying to get you.
So Ramis, Columbia, Stage 18. You're the executive director of this stage at CineSpace Studios, stage number 18, where you support, you run an organization that's kind of a co-working space for independent media producers. All right. In that journey, you've raised millions of dollars. You've
true.
opened companies. You've failed at times. So, you've got character.
Thank you. I like to think so.
Now do it in your Nixon voice. You've got character.
So I think, and then you're at a transition now. You're like, yo, I've done a lot the last decade or so. I'm about to teach some people how to do this. I'm going to become a life coach and help people craft their own creative and business side.
That's true.
Lovely. Can't wait to talk to you about all that.
I'm excited.
Before we get to that, number 1, some housekeeping. For some reason, Apple Podcasts kicked our podcast off of their platform last week.
What?
Why?
Why?
Because we had explicit curse words in...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, well, so
sorry.
here's the thing. So the way we crafted it was SH exclamation point T, business news and other shit exclamation point. And then you just have to put an E, mark it as explicit when you do swear in the episode, which is totally fine. I mean, Mark Maron... So that's his episode. That's his title.
Right.
So I thought we were good with SH exclamation point T. However, apparently in some of the titles that we wrote for the episodes themselves, I may have written a swear or two somewhere in there. So our badass producer, Chris Broadhead, which, by the way, I got introduced because of you here at Stage 18, so there's even more reason.
And Chris is the reason that I'm in the life coaching program that I am now.
Get out of here.
No, I'm not even kidding.
No shit.
So Chris and I met, quick tangent before I get back to that.
Yeah.
Chris and I met just in the community, and I was looking for someone to do headshots, and he says, hey, my roommate Hayden does headshots. Shout out to Hayden. And then Hayden, while taking my headshots, was like, oh, I'm training to be a life coach. I'm in this program. So it all comes
that's how
full
you got it.
circle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
CB, shout out to our producer. So Apple Podcasts kicked us off. And so Chris was working his balls off all week to try and get us back on. They were not responding effectively. July 4th, all that other stuff. but finally got us back on. But here's the issue, people. If you're listening to this, you may have had trouble downloading episodes last week. It should be back up. It should be normal, should be effective, and should be working now. But you may have to reconnect or resubscribe to the show, or click on it and accept that it wants you to download again. So just, you might have some glitches. I don't know exactly what they are. I've heard about it from one or two people. But just, it's back up and running. Whatever you need to do to fix it, please do it and listen to us. That's all I got to say. I don't have a solution for you. I'm sorry. That's the housekeeping. Let's talk business. Guys, this is basically a full-on tech episode. There's so much news about technology companies this past week. First of all, 2 straight days this week, Congress required the technology companies, the big ones, to come in front of Congress and testify about what they're up to. Congress ain't happy with the tech companies. They had Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Google there.
The data stealers.
The data stealers.
Yeah.
Privacy
ruiners.
Puncturers.
Photo
bombers.
I was gonna say baiters.
I got nothing. So I think I've been saying this for about a year, and the truth is, I've been saying watch out for technology. Things did cool down quite a bit, and so I was less negative about them, but it feels like it's perking back up right now. But the truth is, Americans don't seem to care enough. We don't seem to care enough about our privacy at all. And so we're like, as long as I can keep using Facebook, WhatsApp, IG, whatever, y'all can keep selling my data and making tons of money.
Because we used to it, though. We've grown up with having to cover our little computer screens and having the government listening to us through our microwaves.
Put a piece
and
of
stuff
tape on the camera.
Yeah, so we what,
who cares?
Yeah, we grew up with our world leaders being listened to, our public figures being watched by the CIA. So we okay with that.
But then shit started to hit the fan, right? With the Russian memes and Trump getting elected because of Cambridge Analytica. What's funny is this. So we'll talk about maybe we'll just jump right into FaceApp. So FaceApp is this new app. Have you guys? I'm sure you guys have all seen it. It went viral.
It's crazy.
Right? It got recommended by the Apple iTunes Store, Google Play Store, all that stuff. And so everyone's got it, right? I haven't done it yet. Have you done it, Nishad?
I've done it.
And I'm so ashamed.
You're so bashful.
Have you done it, Yahya?
No, I have not.
Angie?
No.
Yeah, I haven't done it either. I'm a little scared. But here's the thing. What's funny is everyone jumped all over it and started using it. And then it came out that FaceApp is owned by a Russian company. All right? And everyone's like, what? Are you saying that Vladimir Putin is basically taking snapshots and all our pictures of Americans and building a database of us with all our facial contours and all this other shit? That's a security threat. Everyone went bananas. Bananas. They were like, we'll stop using FaceApp for a minute. And then some newspaper people, like Washington Post especially, did a big, they interviewed the CEO. They tried to figure out what's going on. And they got to the nitty-gritty, and they found out that Google and Amazon, on their servers, are where all these face pictures are going, not to Russia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that they do have access to your camera roll. They do have access to all your data. They're going to happily sell your data. The CEO did say that. We can do whatever we want with your data. Anything we want. We're going to take it. However, it's all in the Amazon and Google servers. And even though it's a Russian company, it's all of it's staying here in the U.S. and it has nothing to do with Putin or any of those people.
Yeah, but we are selling your stuff, so.
Right. But here's the thing.
But
guess what?
What do you want with my pictures? What are you going to put them on college applications or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's does Home Depot need more information on who to target for their shitty Facebook videos?
Right. What do you need my pictures for? I don't understand. What do you want? What is the big goal of stealing my picture rolls? Because half of them are just face selfies.
They got access to, it's an app on your phone, so they can jump into your browser. They're getting access to a lot.
Hey, I'm in incognito mode half the time anyway. So
you're saying, but does that? I don't know enough about this. Does that prevent apps?
I have no idea, but I don't think it does. My thing is though, the government always we're gonna find out what you look up. It's porn. What do you what Okay, so what? Yeah, I
They want
watch
to know
porn.
what kind of porn you
Like they tried to get all the world, like Malcolm
You like
X. and-
vitiligo porn, don't you?
Hey, whatever. I don't care. Like, yes, I beat off. Okay, what does that have to do with like helping the world out? Everybody masturbates. All right, porn is a huge company.
This
like,
is true.
Yeah, like I remember the CIA tried to get like Martin Luther King. It was like, oh, we'll release your dirty tapes. Like, I don't see how that's a problem now with like the slut generation and all that. I'd be
Right.
like, so what?
Release
Like,
it.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I release it myself.
It was like Amazon, Jeff Bezos. Do you guys remember when Jeff Bezos, someone hacked his phone?
right.
And then he had all these dick pics and all this other stuff that got released to the world, and then he got divorced. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like he's like, yeah, whatever. Here's my pics. You know,
That's gonna stop me from like being rich and
being
all
the
this
richest
stuff.
guy in the world, right?
All right. If anything, they'd be like, some women would be like, it's a decent dick. That's a $20 billion dick right there, ladies. You just got to see for free. You're welcome.
That's one that I mean. I don't want to see any dicks, but his in particular, I really especially don't want to see.
Hey, that
I
dick,
have no desire.
Right?
that dick's made a lot of money.
It's made a lot of money.
I'll tell you that.
So guess what? So once the news came out that the pictures and the data aren't going to Russia, everyone jumped right back on FaceApp and just started using the hell out of it. It went double viral. And people are like, yeah, you can use our data. You can have our camera roll and all our information. I don't care about it. As long as, but for a moment when they're like, wait, there's a Russian spy meme situation. Oh, wait, maybe we want to hear about this shit. Everyone was just like, yeah, we want that drama, but we don't want the drama where you're, using our data and making money off of us.
Well, I think too, like we've grown up in the generation, I mean, until pretty recently, there's, whether or not we like it, at least from my perspective, there's some sort of integrity in our government. Like I believe in, growing up, I was like, oh, perhaps that was naivete, but I'm safe. My data is safe. And now, but it feels so much more invasive, I think, when it's not like your own government. But now look at the times that we're in. And that has totally changed.
It has completely changed. You're right. And I don't think people have caught up to the fact that that's changed.
I know. They're still thinking that, we have these procedures and policies in place.
Yeah. People are mistakenly, I think, projecting the government onto Facebook, Google, so on and so forth.
Oh,
and
no, those are separate
completely
companies.
separate. And Facebook, Google are for-profit companies. They are happy to sell it to Russia and anyone else, which is what they did with the Cambridge Analytica. So all these tech companies are in front of Congress for 2 straight days, and one dude looks at Facebook. He's like, "You guys own 4 of the biggest 6 social media platforms: Messenger, WhatsApp, IG, Facebook itself." And he says, "Sir, you know what we call that? A monopoly." That was what the dude said. And I was like, ding, 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 ding.
Totally true.
I think they want to break this company up. And they're going to try and figure out a way to break up Facebook into 4 separate companies. And so, that is not good news for Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg at all. If anyone can screw this company, it is the U.S. government. And I totally think they should. Zuckerberg's got way too much power. I think that... Who knew what?
Be a war on Facebook.
Yeah, man, there should be. There's so many wars on Facebook. There should be a war about Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
It's great. If we all stop using Facebook right now, Mark Zuckerberg would malfunction. Yeah, he'll consume 4 gallons of water. Like, I must figure something out. And then he'll make another app called, I don't know.
Water book.
Wait, pretend that he'll make an app where you could take a picture and look like your dog.
Amazon, same thing. They're like, yo, y'all are a monopoly. Y'all are just growing crazy. You guys own the platform that Macy's and everyone will sell on, and you get to see what Macy's is selling, and then you sell the same shit for a lower price. Like Amazon is also kind of totally sketchy.
It's like a total control of the commerce pipeline.
100% control.
Yep.
Very dangerous. So my attitude is like, yo, ease up on technology. Ease up, take your foot off the gas on technology. I would not be super bullish on them. Like if it were me, I always talk about a 60-20-20 rule, investing 20% of your savings automatic into the markets. And you want to make sure you're investing overall in a diversified basket of stocks. You don't want to just put all your 20% money in one stock like Apple or Google or Facebook. No, you want to buy like an ETF. I always talk about. My favorite is SPY. And I'm saying if you're a person who's actually buying individual stocks, I'd be taking my foot off the gas for technology stocks and watching the news because I think that these technology companies are going to get reined in by the government. I think they're jonesing to do it, especially with Facebook's new cryptocurrency, Libra. Y'all heard
Is
about
that what they're calling it?
Libra, yeah.
Another cryptocurrency.
Isn't that a horoscope name? Isn't that
It
Libra?
is.
It
It
is,
is a
yeah.
horoscope name. I bet you it's Zuckerberg's.
Oh, you think so?
No.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That'd
Maybe.
be crazy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I bet it is. So that was the other thing Congress was all snappy about was like, yo, you guys think you're a bank? Facebook, you're about to take over. If Facebook were to do this digital currency, I think that it would basically take over a lot of the money that we use.
I don't think so. I don't
What?
think people. No, I don't think people. I think people still like regular banks. I don't see too many people into like cryptocurrency, except like those technology weirdos who be like, oh yeah, but like I still like.
I think people who are
I like dollar bills.
Yeah.
me, you, and Angie and Yahya for sure. But people who are 5 years old, 10 years old right now, right? Who are like, okay, I see cash, but I also see Libra, and I'm on the internet all day long as a 10-year-old kid playing video games or whatever. They're using that money to interact and transact. So I think that could easily, over a period of 10 or 15
like the
years.
Microsoft points, from Xbox. It's like,
Oh, you
They kinda-
use
they-
that?
no, but like,
I was like, word.
you would. So that's how it was as a kid. Like you would buy Microsoft points, and that was your currency for Xbox. And then you would buy like your membership or whatever, and so on. So it's kind of like they conditioned us to that,
Right.
from a young age.
I never used that either. I would still go to GameStop and still be mad at the people. Like I like to be mad at physical people. Like I want to be like, oh, my Xbox points went down. Like, and then you only mad at yourself.
It's less satisfying. But to go back quickly to so I think something super interesting in this whole thing is that government is a notion that's traditionally based on land managed by that entity, and now
What do you mean?
like you have a government of the United States, and the United States is made up of 50 states. You have a government of Russia, right?
And they manage
the
this land.
jurisdiction is based
Got it.
on in physical
These
land.
boundaries,
Yeah.
right.
These boundaries. And now it's almost like we've created a new land that's not necessarily like
The
based
digital land.
Digital land?
the digital land.
Oh,
And
shit.
so for me, the
Digiworld.
scariest thing is that this Facebook, Amazon, Google, like in my mind, they rival governments.
Yeah.
They're their own governments of a whole new landscape.
And
And so
a digital land.
I'm super curious about how that's going to play out over the next couple years.
That's great. I mean, I think that's what we're seeing here. Congress trying to rein these guys. I think Congress is like, yo, are these guys getting more powerful than us at some level?
Yeah.
Do they
Right.
have
Is
more
there a
power than
threat?
us? Are they
Totally.
a threat? And I think there's this other tension, which is like, but they're the most valuable companies in the world. Some of these companies are worth almost $1 trillion, or they are worth $1 trillion. No company has ever been worth $1 trillion in America. But
Yeah.
once Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Facebook's not worth $1 trillion, but the other three, and Microsoft is worth $1 trillion, I think, too. Once they became worth that much, the government's like, oh shit, we kind of need these guys to keep paying their taxes, and they're the most valuable companies
Well,
in the
and
world.
it's crazy. Can you imagine if we were suddenly part of two governments? Like everybody had a land government and a digital government.
Oh no! What do you
Like
mean?
how
You blow my
horrible
mind,
would that
Angie.
be?
I would
In
need
the
a pass-
digital
I would need a
world?
Facebook
No.
passport.
you would.
That's crazy. I'd be a
Oh,
citizen of the
yeah.
digital world. Man, I wonder if I could pick what country I belong to at that point.
Who
You're
knows?
part of they do. They have a Google, they have a certain Google thing. Like if you want to learn something about another country, you put Google and then whatever the abbreviation is for
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
the other country.
Yeah,
So
Google.ca for Canada.
yeah, so you're part of Google
Google.com.
US.
Yeah, US.
Well, on the doomsday, on this current doomsday path that we're talking
Yeah, right.
about, like I could imagine a world, and maybe this is my movie brain, where when you're born into a digital government. Like everyone's in different factions.
Are we talking about the Matrix right now? You
Maybe,
guys?
maybe, who knows?
Damn, we're in that shit.
Oh no.
Keanu Reeves is the president.
Yeah, he is really popular on the internet right now.
So get this.
He
So
was giving a lot of money away. Isn't that what came up?
Who? Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
something was going
I
on.
don't know. I try to stay in and out because I don't want to be too much in
Too
the
deep.
digital
In
world.
too
Yeah.
deep. Yeah. So Trump. So Amazon was. So Facebook's particularly targeted because that they own four of the big six, and because of Libra. It's freaking out Congress. It's freaking out the Federal Reserve. they're all like, what if this Libra does take off? We will have less control over the monetary policy. We'll have less control over money, right? That's the government controls the money right now.
Right.
They control interest rates. That's some of the big stories going on right now. We didn't even bring it up, but interest rates are about to get cut. I can't believe they're about to get cut, but they're about to get cut. Amazon is super interesting because they're about to get awarded. They're very close to getting awarded a $10 billion contract from the Pentagon for their AWS, for their cloud service. That's one of Amazon's biggest businesses. People don't realize is the cloud, And so the Pentagon has got it boiled down to Amazon or Microsoft. They're going to award it to someone. And Trump, because he's got a lot of beef with Bezos. Bezos owns the Washington Post, which is always railing on Trump. And Trump is supposedly the one who might have been behind all his phone getting hacked, Bezos' phone getting hacked, because they got a lot of beef with each other. Trump is like, I'm going to look into why Amazon should get this award contract.
Pucker your lips more.
How's that? Am my impression good?
Your voice is far too deep.
Rocky Balboa.
You have to whisper a little bit. You have to almost.
You sound like you're from South Park, Nishad.
It's close enough.
Your Trump impression is not very good.
There you go.
Oh, is that better?
It's a little better.
Come to my Mar-a-Lago resort.
No.
I have some people give you a good African butt massage.
Oh, okay. I'm down.
It's like, I'm there.
All right, so he's like trying to basically step in and get involved with this Pentagon contract, which is like a big national security problem. Like the Pentagon is like knee deep in this negotiation, trying to figure out what's going to be the most secure way to secure our data. Huge thing, and Trump's getting involved, trying to prevent Amazon from getting the contract. So Amazon might not get the contract, and they might get managed or whatever, accused of being a monopoly by Congress. So I'm just like, with all these tech companies, if you're investing in them, be super careful. That's my message here. Be super duper careful.
Well, and then did any of you see the recent John Oliver episode where he talked about Amazon and their employees?
No, I didn't see
Yeah,
that
I
one.
saw that.
No, yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, in order to basically order a book and you get it delivered Prime single day or whatever, there are hundreds of people that are walking 20 miles a day inside these huge warehouses to fulfill these orders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've
And
heard
some of
that.
them aren't, John Oliver reported that some of them aren't getting bathroom breaks, things like that,
Yeah, I
et
did hear some
cetera.
of that.
So
But they're killing it on the steps on their watch.
the Fitbit, man.
They're blowing their Fitbit up, man.
Fitbit, perks of being an Amazon employee.
Right.
You get a free Fitbit.
Thing blows up at like 20,000 steps.
But so it's crazy. It's crazy. to watch.
I bet the government is also looking at some of that stuff too. I think they're more focused on the contract. My worry would be the contract and them getting broken up into separate companies.
Sure.
Amazon will get broken up into separate companies. I'm sorry to say, the government doesn't care too much about human
The
beings.
people, yeah.
They're like, where's the money?
Yeah, the government cares way more about the money. It's unfortunate, but it's so true. All right, so to keep going with technology, Netflix.
Yeah.
All right, Netflix. Wait, actually, we have a question from our audience.
So Chris Broadhead
Who's he?
Thanks
asked,
for listening, Chris.
so I'm going to read the entire post, then you
Yeah.
can answer after.
Yeah.
Is it a good time to invest in Netflix? Or should we consider some other streaming networks to potentially invest in? Specifically ones with either Friends or The Office. And why do people only watch old
Friends
shows?
or The Office, like those shows?
Yeah, those
Friends
shows.
or Office,
Yeah.
right.
And why do people only watch old shows? Also, how'd you get so handsome?
Damn.
That last one's tough.
Yeah, for that last one, it's like,
I think
you
he's
need
just
to look at my
blind.
real pictures, not my face app
There we
pictures.
go.
All right, so Netflix. So I would actually be. So I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this, Angie, because you're
Sure.
knee deep in the film production world.
Well, yeah, I am.
I'll give you my first opinion right off the bat. So it's funny you asked about Netflix. I'm sure he saw this headline. Netflix lost 126,000 subscribers this most recent quarter.
To Disney.
It's not clear to who. They just announced that 126,000 people canceled their Netflix subscription.
Oh, man.
That's in the U.S.
Yep.
Okay. Globally, they gained 2.7 million subscribers.
Oh, okay.
However, their estimates were for them to gain, they were planning to gain 5 million internationally. So they gained only half what their plan was. So I think what's happening here is Netflix is starting to sputter a little bit. If you guys remember, Netflix raised their prices like a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago.
I don't have a Netflix. So
Oh, you
I
don't?
know. Yeah.
Whose do you steal?
Everyone's. Anyone's and everyone's.
My husband's.
Oh yeah. So I think Netflix is actually starting to stumble here, and I think this. I mean, they're still making both. They're still doing fine. They're still able to raise billions of dollars. Their stock price was down 10% on this news, but I think they're losing Friends. They're losing The Office. And all these other streaming networks have jumped on, like Disney especially,
Right.
have jumped on and they're like, yo, we're going to create our own and we're going to take all of our properties off of Netflix.
Yep.
So Netflix is like, yeah, we got Stranger Things, we got The Crown, we got all this. Don't worry about it. But I think what this is really showing is they're on the way down. Like when they adjust prices just a little bit, they start losing subscribers.
Yeah.
126,000 is a small number, but I think if they need
And
to
start
continue
losing
raising
programs and stuff, people are like, I don't know about.
I think people are going to start looking at other platforms. So
which one would you suggest? What other platforms would you?
honestly, I think what's going to happen is people are just going to basically know what shows they want to buy, or they want to watch, and they'll just buy HBO, buy Netflix, buy Disney, and they're good with that. And they'll pay $15, $45 a month, and they just cut their cable. That's what life is going to be like. They're going to have these 2 or 3.
Or you could just steal that shit from the internet and like a smart human being. Like,
Yeah.
fuck
Some of that stuff is hard to find though, because it got all those ads, and then the video loads really slow, and it's not the best quality.
Well, it's so interesting because if you watch like HBO, I'm actually a big fan. They treat their releases of new shows often similar to a cable network. They will release a new episode every week.
Right, like Game of Thrones was.
Right,
They wouldn't drop all 10 at one time.
They wouldn't drop all
right.
10 at once. And Netflix has a very different model in that way.
You can binge.
You can totally binge. And honestly, I don't know how many people feel really good after they've binged TV for 12 hours.
It's like eating McDonald's.
Oh, is that right? I don't really binge. I haven't binged before.
I don't binge like huge shows. I like binge Stranger Things because it's like 6 episodes
Stranger
or something.
Things is great.
Yeah. So
is it
I'll
just 6? No, it's more than that, isn't it?
I forgot how it was like 8 episodes the last
But it's
season.
a straight 7-8 hours, right? Did you do all 7-8 hours?
No, I watched like a couple, then I fell asleep, and then
That's not
it.
binging.
That's not binging.
It is binging because I wake up and then I watch the rest. Like,
Dude, you understand some people will sit for 7 or 8 straight hours and watch the whole thing.
well, I can't watch movies. Like I try to watch certain movies, like certain important movies or whatever, or like very artistic movies, and then I fall asleep. So I have to like watch it
Yeah.
in
Bits.
increments. Yeah.
Angie's saying, yo, that binging is probably over time. People are going to like that less and less, and they're going to prefer HBO.
Yeah, totally. Or, I mean, and, the value of intellectual property is incredibly important nowadays in the landscape. Because you just saw Disney launch their new streaming service, and they took all of their IP.
Yeah. I don't
with
think
them.
anybody's gonna watch that though.
The kiddos might.
Oh, I keep forgetting about kids. Yeah, I don't think kids will watch
They
that
exist.
either though, because
Well, I don't know. What
Disney's
about
low
parents?
key
They probably be like, I
boring.
want my kids to watch something,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna buy Netflix or anything.
Yeah.
I'd want them to focus on Disney.
But
Yeah,
there's
I
kids
think
things
about
on
that all the time.
Netflix.
Yeah.
My daughter's favorite show is something called Fancy Nancy. Fancy Nancy.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh man, she's like, I left the house. I'm like, let me put some Fancy Nancy on for her before I walk out.
What is it like Peppa Pig?
I don't know what Peppa Pig is.
Oh, Peppa
I was a
Pig's
Blue's
little,
Clues girl.
Oh, Blue's
little
Clues.
kind.
Did you know Blue is a female?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
So what do you think about Netflix then? You're saying that.
I'm just saying that when streaming services first started, kind of like the internet, like Netflix was automatically this conglomerate
Yes.
that was like, we're going to provide
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
And now that there is so much content out there, people are forced to be a little bit more specific
Yes.
in how they're choosing it. Because how many of us have just like stared at the Netflix screen, unable to choose what
Right.
we want for
Right.
20 minutes?
Right.
My husband yells at me. I do it all the time.
Yeah, same here. Honestly, Netflix's interface, I hate it. I can't stand it.
Yeah. And so I think now that it's normal now that streaming is normalized, there's going to be some specificity and some selection
Good
around
call.
it.
And yeah, I don't know if Netflix
makes
is the best.
And Netflix makes it almost impossible for that specificity to happen organically because they're showing you what you want to watch, and then they have hundreds of titles that you can't. It's hard for you to find.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly confused every time I'm on Netflix. Thoroughly confused. So yeah, Chris. I'm not a big buyer of Netflix. I actually think this is something I'd want to take my foot off the gas. With all the other technology too, man. Technology is not a good day with Amer today. And then which ones to buy? I don't know which ones to buy. I don't know enough about it, but I'd say definitely, Disney is probably my number one, choice. They own so many properties. Their streaming is going to be very powerful, hard to mess with. And I think they own so much of maybe they don't own the sports part of it as well as much as they used to. I think
they own.
Do they still own ESPN?
Yeah, they do.
So that's a big thing.
ESPN's gonna be on Disney.
It's it's
gonna be like the same episode back to back to back.
I don't know.
It's like, oh man, I really love this Disney stuff right here.
I don't know.
People binge watch ESPN all the time.
Yeah, they do. You're right. They just keep it on the background.
Yeah.
Well, so something interesting, right? So I think you have this dynamic, at least in my household. Like if we want to watch an HBO show, we go to HBO to watch a show. You go to Showtime to watch a show. You're probably going to go to Disney to watch a specific show. You don't really go to Netflix to watch a specific show.
Yeah.
You go to Netflix, except for Stranger Things.
It's starting to be like that
It's
a little bit.
starting to be like a little bit more where you're just going to Netflix to like kill time. Yeah. At least that's how that's speaking for myself.
How it
feels to me.
And or chill.
All right. We got two more questions. We're not going to get to them, unfortunately, because we started a little late and we have to keep hustling through this. Let's transition. Oh, yeah? Okay. Give us one more question. We won't answer all three of them. We'll answer one more. Whichever one's... Give us the video game question. Shreya.
So Shreya asks or says, lots of people are saying that the entertainment industry is getting more focused on interaction more than just viewing. I.e., do you think it's a good time to be investing in video games? Are they where entertainment is headed?
So interactive media.
Yes.
Okay, I would say not with our current systems. Like I would wait another short period, or I will wait another gaming system, like not with the PS4, not with the Xbox One.
VR is not there yet.
Yeah, I will wait one more generation over to start investing.
Almost like another cycle.
Like the PS5 or the Xbox.
But if it's going to get big Infinity. In the next 3-4 years, if the next systems are dropping in the next 3-4 years, this actually might be the time to buy.
Oh yeah, okay.
Get ahead of it a little bit.
In a sense, yes.
But do we have? I don't have a strong opinion on the video game world, and if we're on the verge of some big shift. How long is PS4 the latest? How long has that been out?
It's been out for
It's been out for a while now.
Yeah, I would say 3 years, maybe 3-4 years.
I feel like a lot longer than that.
I feel
too.
longer, but we might be due for a big change.
Yeah, it's coming.
Where something's like, instead of paying $1,000 or $2,000 for VR, they include it in a system, and it's only $500 or $600. And that would be huge. That'd be a big shift.
I say that because the games that have came out recently they're good, but they're it still feels incomplete. Where the game systems or the games before had a little more movement, just because the graphics have went up. The gameplay hasn't they trying to match.
Up. I got you.
They trying to match the gameplay with the graphics, and it's not quite there yet. So some of the gameplay is a little slower than the gameplay before, just because they haven't figured out how to keep the graphics and then keep the gameplay.
Angie, is there some sort of, I don't know how much gaming you do.
Not a lot.
Right.
But I have an opinion.
You do. Here's one question for you before you say your opinion. Is there a way, could you ever see a way where a movie or a TV show gets melded with video games, and
they kind of do that now?
Yeah, they do.
You create a movie almost, but you're in the movie?
Yeah. It's 40 hours of watching the game and then 20 minutes of actually playing. That's what God of War was. It was a good game, but
there's a game called God of War?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing, yeah.
It's amazing.
And it's you watching his dad go through the stuff with his son.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it's
I'm tearing up already.
It's Maury, but with swords.
Maury Povich? Can you imagine if there's a video game like Jerry Springer? Holy shit, that'd be
it'd be fun.
Well, so it's so interesting, right? Because it's just It's like it's a whole new form of storytelling, because the premise of making a film or a TV show is that you're controlling the audience's point of view.
Yes.
You are intentional.
100%.
You're telling the story. You are telling them where to look. You are kind of guiding them in what to notice. And so when you take that element out in a video game or in VR, where the audience member gets to choose, I don't know that we've mastered what the impact is on an audience member if they're choosing.
Right.
Like, how do you tell a story? How do you deliver a story in a way that makes an impact if the audience member can go in whatever direction they want?
Right.
Without, Black Mirror did it with, I think, Bandersnatch.
Yeah, the choose your own story
Choose
thing.
your own story on Netflix. And that becomes more of, to me, it felt more of like a choose your own adventure, which it was. It's kind of an experiment rather than like a really impactful story. So,
you didn't like it?
I thought it was, I thought it was inventive and fine
Right.
and curious.
So no.
Novel, but not good.
Novel, but not good. No, I mean, and that's totally my bias, because I believe in the power of storytelling, but it's hard to tell a story when you don't have control over the point of view.
Right. When
That's true.
it can't be as tight as you want it to be. It's
Right.
like,
Right. I mean, people, 10 writers sit in a room to master that controlled point of view in a TV show or movie.
Right. And then, so it's like, are we trying to tell a story when we should really be focusing on calling it an experience? Like, is it just a semantic distinction? Right? Like, I don't know if VR, at least currently with the current technology, if VR and video games mesh well with the idea of storytelling, unless you reinvent what that word means.
what if each writer wrote one separate story? Just one separate story, right? And then the choose your own story started from the beginning, from whatever choice you made. Like, you felt like it was a choose your own story thing, but the only part that you got to choose was like,
But even
from the very
So let's
beginning.
say you go on writer number 4's journey.
right.
I think the issue here is, even on that journey, the VR user or the game player, me, I get to pick a bunch of choices, I think, along that journey. Like, it's not fun unless I'm picking, right?
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is lie to people and then make them feel like they're going on
lie
their
to
own
people,
journey.
okay.
So,
And when they're really not.
Maybe.
so it's so interesting, because why do you play video games? Like, what do you get out of it?
I think there's an emotional ups and downs.
So
A
I was
journey.
gonna say, like, if you, I don't know if you guys have ever played the Spider-Man video games, but they're
Yes.
freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, especially nowadays, the graphics are so awesome, which is what Nishad said. But on top of that, like with the way they tell the story, and the way I guess I don't know. When I play the game, I kind of get a glimpse of what Spider-Man feels like. It's
Yeah.
like you're literally following him like as he's swinging through the city, and it's like I almost feel like I'm Spider-Man and I'm controlling this character. So it's like I've got that point of view. So it's like I'm immersed into the game.
Which is what we feel when we watch it on a big screen movie. We feel we're vicariously living through Spider-Man as if we are Spider-Man, as well as the Green Goblin and other people.
But there's a little bit difference with the video game
This one's,
because
I think,
you're
more
controlling
immersed.
the character.
Well, and I think right, part of the reason, movies are often, there's an escapism element.
Yep.
They say that movies will never die because regardless of what's going on in the world, you want to escape from the story.
Yep.
It's also, if you're watching a movie, there are no consequences for you.
That's true.
And I feel like that's a little bit different with a video game.
Yeah.
You
That's
know? And
Ever
so
played a horror
that's an
video game?
interesting, I don't know what to make of that
Yes.
quite, but that's a horror video game?
Like
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
Yeah, I hate those. I love them, but I hate them
Dude, I
because I,
love
feel like I'm a die. it takes me so long.
So there
I
you
think
go.
that would be fun.
Yeah.
There's also, they're playing for the thrill.
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
getting close to death.
my sister, sorry, Michelle, when we were growing up, there was Sims, right? Sims
Oh,
in its
yeah.
first iteration when you were building houses. And I remember she would build houses and put people in like a pool and then pause the game and take out the ladder and like watch them drown. She's totally fine now, but she's great. She's going to Dartmouth for med school, so congratulations.
Wait. You take out the
She's
ladder
the
in
exact
the
opposite
game.
now.
Yeah, so she would like create a house, right? And then have them cook or something. And then, because you can choose their actions, right? And then she would pause it and reconstruct the house and like take out the doors so they couldn't escape. And then the building would burn
She
down.
basically said, "I'm done drowning people and killing them. I'm going to save them now."
Damn.
No, she really just killed them.
There was no rescue there, bro. I didn't hear any rescue.
Well, I mean, with going to medical school, you said, right?
Yeah.
So she's decided to change. She's decided to change.
Yeah, now
she's like, she's on board of that.
Now
She's like, I got some serious healing of my soul to do from those Sims days.
She's got to repair
I need to
reparations.
become a doctor. All right. So that's our thing. Yes, it might not be a bad time to get into video games and invest in video games. Absolutely, you should. I think in general be invested in video games. But to be in a bigger position, I'd have to do a bunch of homework. That's what I'd recommend to you, Shreya. Thank you all for the questions from our badass producers, who are also our audience. We love y'all. Angie.
Yeah.
What's up? Let's talk to you.
Hi, I'm here.
All right.
Present, available.
So we gave you the intro, right? We talked about how, you're this entrepreneur and this film producer. So give us like a background, like one of the things I remember when I first met you, I was like, wow, teaching at those two schools, Ramus and Columbia, running Stage 18, executive director of this co-working space for independent film and TV people. And then I saw, you own a company called Black Apple Media.
'Tis true.
Which is where you produce the vehicle with which you use to produce many of your movies.
Yep.
All right, so give us a sense. How many movies have you been part of in a producer role? How many movies have you worked on or dealt with?
So these last two movies I shot last fall were my 16th and 17th feature films.
Okay.
Not always in a producer role, but in a production manager or for some sort of high-end production capacity. So always in a leadership space. I've done a ton of short films. I also was the executive producer at The Onion for about a year and a half. So I produced some series with them, including the first season of Tough Season, which is fantasy football in real life. We worked with the NFL and a lot of players on that.
Ah, cool. So executive producer at The Onion for some of their web
branded
stuff.
content. So it's when
Branded
Onion
content.
Labs was first starting. So I was kind of an entrepreneur of a new division within The Onion at the time.
Understood. Yeah. So you guys weren't directly linked to the regular Onion written content that is satire.
That's a muddy question. I mean, we were, but
maybe using some of the writers.
Right.
Got it.
Because Onion Labs, which is their branded content division, is a fully kind of separate entity now. But when we were starting, it was myself and a couple other people. So we often worked with editorial in order to make those come to life.
Okay. So we're starting to get a picture of your experience in the world through teaching, through executive producer of movies, and through producing at The Onion, executive producing at The Onion. All right, so we on this podcast like to learn about how to make money. That's our thing, right? We want to learn how to make cheddar, and
Cheddar.
I think the way I want to attack it with you is, you've arrived at a place where you're able to walk into a room, and if your pitch is right, you raise $1 million.
Yeah.
That's basically where you've arrived at this point. So, all right, so how did you get there? What was it a slow build? Were you raising $1 million right off the bat? What were some of the parts of the journey that you think are so essential that gave you that credibility, where people give you that kind of money?
Sure. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is being in film now in Chicago for over a decade. I started making films literally on set on the crew. I was not raising the money, but I learned every facet of where those dollars go. I did not come in and say, hey, I'm going to raise $1 million and not understand how that $1 million affects the product.
No one's going to give you money at that point.
I spent like half a decade working on sets, learning the industry, learning how production works. And now that credibility follows me whenever I go into a room and I ask for a certain amount of money.
Okay.
So it's not, some people, everyone is a producer in a different way. Some people are former lawyers and then they're producers. I come from a production background and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Wow. Yeah, you're saying that if a lawyer wanted to become a film producer, he can do it. But man, from your experience, the credibility you got and the knowledge you have from actually production, from being on a set, that to you'd have it no other way. That's the most valuable way in your mind.
Totally. And when we've had a lot of failures. Like we raised a certain amount of money for a film we were going to shoot in Colorado. We had a big marketing campaign. It didn't happen. a lot of
Wait,
ideas.
you did in that example. You did. So let's go through a failure.
Sure.
So that one sounds like it's a
It
bright
was
one
a
in your
stoner
head.
film. No.
Could have easily been.
So that one. So talk about that failure. So, what, like, it sounds like you raised successfully the money. Money goes into a bank account. Is that true?
Yeah. So we didn't raise all the money, but we had a script. We had a group of folks. It was our first time going out and raising money. So my producing partner and I at the time, we did a 30-page business plan. Like, we self-taught ourselves in all of the homework needed to present as professionals, because this is not what they teach you in film school, unfortunately.
It's not.
It's not.
I had to learn that from YouTube too. How to pitch.
Crazy,
How to
right?
pitch,
Yeah.
how to raise, how to have a relationship with money, and it was Colorado. We did a big grassroots marketing campaign, because when I produce, I'm not just raising money for a business. I also gravitate towards projects that are going to have some sort of community or social impact. It means they're all narrative. I haven't done a documentary yet, but they have a bigger message than just a business payoff. Probably because they're not going to make any money, or they're not going to make a lot of money. And so we were in Colorado. We had a huge fundraiser at an arts center in Denver. We talked to a lot of politicians. We ended up bringing in about $30,000 initially just for the development of the script and stuff. And then it just it just kind of fizzled out. And I'm still very close with most of the folks involved. There are no bad feelings, but we weren't ready. We didn't know what it meant, but we tried. And you're not going to know what it means until you try. So it's a lot of practice.
What's funny is, one thing I noticed in that, what you said was, a lot of times these movies don't make money.
Yeah.
That's, and I was like, wait, people give you money knowing that you may not make money?
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm just now getting to the point in my career after a decade in very small independent films here in Chicago where the transactions and the money I'm raising are actually starting to be based in business and based in potential profit or revenue.
That's a new thing for you.
That's a new thing. And which is...
And you said 10 years?
Yeah.
Man.
Does that surprise you?
No, but I just wanted to repeat it so the people can hear.
What about the money part? Did that surprise you?
No. I mean, I do stand up to no money, and I've been doing it for 5 years. So I get
dude,
it.
She's saying that she'll in the past, and even currently still, she'll sometimes raise money for a movie, $30,000 to start developing a script. They'll give her the money, and a lot of times people will give the money knowing movies don't really make that much money. But so here,
it makes sense.
Yeah, and
you would do that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I think that's why it comes back to how important it is when we're dealing, and I've only dealt in super low budget indie films, but there's a bigger reason why people are giving than just the money. It's because they want to be involved in the Colorado community, or they like the theme of this story.
They want to see that story on screen.
They want to see that story on screen. So it's part a social pitch. When I first started, it was all social. It was like, hey, believe in me, we're going to make this cool story. Now I would say it's about 40% like social or emotional investment and 60% monetary financial investment.
Hey, you might make some money on this.
Hey, you might. Like, here's why. So, and so it started super passionate, passion-based.
Social, yeah.
And now it's very hard to sustain a living as a sane person if you're just raising money for passion-based projects, because eventually you're going to bankrupt your financial resources.
Right.
That's just
People
how it's
just
going
to
to
stop giving you money.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Premieres and good things and hugs can only take you so far when people have lost a lot of money.
Right.
But the great thing is, from the beginning, they don't see losing money as a loss. They see that as their contribution in creating something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They're trying to help you build your star up.
Build your stuff.
But also, what she's saying is they're trying to help themselves get a story that's valuable to them told out there in the world.
Yeah.
They want to impact culture.
And then
So I'll pay
the
for
better the story is, the more the
and-
star grows, then they come back and be like, hey, we got another thing.
Right.
Totally. And it's so interesting because when you're raising money for movies, like, there is a very quick turnaround. Like, you see your money in action. Right. You're on set. You see it being made. You see hiring a lot of people. You can visit set, you see a finished product. So there's this tangibility
Yeah,
to the
concrete.
money. There's very concreteness to the money that you're raising that isn't there in a lot of other trades.
Okay, so
But it also involves an experience too, then, right?
Yeah, totally.
Because like you get an experience from it
Totally.
too.
You get to watch your money get made.
into a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
that's
going to
right.
put like 50 to 100 people to work. So there are, you get so there are so many benefits beyond just the financial ones. And that's depending on the script or the project or the budget. Sometimes in indie films, specifically here in Chicago, because it's a smaller community, that's what you have to focus on.
What film have you raised the most money for that you were kind of in that lead role?
It would probably be the last two movies this past fall. Collectively, they both shot around the same time, which was challenging. But I love them. I was a walking zombie. But I love them both. One's called Killing Eleanor, and one is called Monuments. They will very different movies, but both deal with death in a weird way, which is kind of cool.
Sounds morbid.
Morbid, but kind of fun.
Do you got the song Eleanor Rigby in there, or was it too expensive?
I can't afford that. I can't afford that. And they'll be.
So how much did what was the budget of each of those?
So I can't speak to the individual budget, but I can say collectively it was over $1 million.
Perfect.
So
and you were the executive producer on both of those?
Producer on both of those, which and I raised the majority of the money for each of those projects within a 8 to 6 month period.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, and in those situations, did you have to, I presume, tweak your pitch in such a way where not only do you pitch, have got the experience, I've been building it up for the last decade, I've also got a way that I think we can possibly turn a profit on these movies. Is that how you had to kind of evolve your pitch?
Totally, and I think the only way that authentically came out, rather than me selling them some bullshit, was by the people I partnered with. I partnered with new people with different experiences than me, because I'm not yet a guru in distribution, but I know production really well. And so different producers come with different experience levels. So by expanding the network of producers on the team, we were able to bring that experience to the table and actually start to talk about that.
Get a producer on board who does know distribution better. And so people who want to give you money are like, oh, well, you know production, you know distribution. I'm going to give you all some money.
Yeah.
Here's $100,000.
Yeah.
I got you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you noticed then, I guess, through your experiences, is it easier to raise money or more money for films when there's profit involved than as opposed to movies where there isn't like that much of profit involved or no, none at all?
It really comes back to the story. Like it really depends. I mean, there's something really refreshing about being a great straight business transaction when you're raising money for films. And hopefully as I continue to work on that will be more and more. But the reason I chose independent film production is because I like the passion. I like the vision. I like people taking risks. I like seeing an idea from someone that changes into a tangible thing. So that's more of a personal preference. And the film industry in Chicago has grown significantly in the last 5 years. So I don't doubt that's it's become more accessible to raise money for films.
And it's less rules.
That's right.
Less rules, totally.
Actors Guild, I don't think I've ever signed up for that shit. Or Directors Guild, yeah.
Well, you said you haven't or you wouldn't?
I don't think I would. I've tried before. I don't know. I just don't like being part of guilds.
Oh,
Guilds and unions.
Yeah.
Man, you really hate bus driver unions, huh?
Yeah, I really do.
Jaded,
All
man.
around.
They're really jaded you.
All right. So now let's talk about. So we get it. You know, independent film. You know how to raise $1 million. You've built. You invested in yourself by learning how to pitch, by learning how to teach, getting those roles, and it built a ton of credibility in Angie Gaffney as a human being. And so people are like, "Yep, I'll give her $1 million." Great.
Sure.
You learned that, and then in the last year, and it feels like it's been more than a year, but really I've seen it more in the last year here. You've transitioned to a place of like, yeah, I'm still doing that. And I can still do that, but there's something else calling my name.
Yep.
Which is being a life coach. So you basically will coach people on helping them achieve their own creative dreams or be their own entrepreneurs for themselves. So the biggest thing I think that people get scared shitless about is losing that regular paycheck
Sure.
from a corporation.
Sure.
I hear that a lot. People are like, yeah, I could never do that, Amer. I'm like, yo, I thought I could never do it either, but I was able to concoct a little plan and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have a coach helping me through that, to be honest with you. I kind of had to figure it out a lot on my own. I will say I used to see a therapist. That helped me, and I still see a therapist
Big
today
fan
sometimes.
of therapy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a big
helps
fan.
me a lot. In fact, thanks to you, I'm back into therapy in the last few months.
Good for you guys.
Congratulations. Good for you.
What'd you say?
Good for you guys.
I said, good for you guys. Therapy sounds.
You don't like-
Thank you for doing that, Angie.
Are you anti-therapy?
Now I don't have to do it
Yeah,
as much.
I am. I do my own therapy.
Oh, for real?
Yes, I do.
I don't know that that's how that works.
Yeah, it does. I've learned from
That explains a lot, Nishad.
It does. It does explain-
You're eliciting so many questions in my mind. I'm sure listeners' mind. What do you mean you do your own therapy?
I talk to
massage
myself. No, no, I do. I talk to myself.
That's called praying, talking to yourself.
Yeah,
Really
I-
talking to God.
I assess problems. I'm like, well, what's going on with me right now? Why do I feel this way? Are you present? All
That's
of
pretty
this.
good.
That's great.
If I'm upset, I'm like, am I upset because at this person, or I'm upset at myself, or am I upset because I'm just hungry? You know what I mean?
I like it.
I do all.
Hangry?
Yep, I
Yeah.
do all of that stuff.
You get some good therapy. How much do you charge for this?
Oh, it's free, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll tell
I
you
might need to
about
hire
yourself
you.
in no time.
I might have to take you up on that. I'm curious.
All right. One thing you told me before we jumped on this podcast, Angie, was you're in the process of getting fully certified as a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And this past weekend, you had a life coach, kind of a weekend where
Training weekend.
a training weekend. Thank you. And this weekend happened to be about money.
It was.
And so you told me a story about an exercise they gave you at lunch at the break.
Yep.
You had to go out onto the street, or is
Yes.
that right?
Yep. Mhm.
With strangers. Mm-hmm. Okay, can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, so the theme of the weekend was money, and so we're talking about our relationship with money. Because money at the end of the day is just math.
Money is math.
Money is math.
Right.
Numbers.
Yeah, it's numbers. It's a piece of paper.
It's not more than that, you sure? Because I mean, I feel a lot more than that.
Well, sure, of course we do, but that's our what we feel is our relationship to money. So it is the significance that we put on it. Right?
What does
So-
your therapist think about that?
My therapist agrees.
And so they had us at lunch. They had us go out, and we're downtown. We're River North, so we're kind of in shopping, Michigan Ave, and we had to get $3 from 3 separate strangers.
$1 each.
$1 each without explanation.
Can I have $1?
Can I have $1? That's all you can say. And we had to give $3 away.
Once you got the 3, you can give them away?
Yeah. To 3 different people without explanation.
How long did it take you to get $3 from 3 people?
So I was super efficient about it. It took me like 15 minutes.
I was gonna say it couldn't have took that long.
I don't know. What was the longer people? How long did it take?
Some people are still trying to do it.
What?
But it's so interesting because it's all about, some people have a lot of self-judgment
Yeah.
if they're asking for money, and some people have, like, they really want to keep the money, so they have a hard time giving it away, or vice versa.
$3? You
I
taking
would
a
think
class
that's
for
not-
how much, and you can't give up $3?
Isn't that fascinating?
Especially if the 3 was from other people.
Right. That's weird.
But it's so, and what also comes up when you're doing that is how much you judge others, like, based on money. Like, should I ask this person for money? Can this person give me $1? Should I give this?
Can I say something real quick? Okay, so I was doing this, Amer. I was doing stand-up on the street for no reason.
Oh,
Just
yeah, I like that.
jumped on the street and like started talking and doing stand-up, and it was way more scarier than being on any stage.
Sure, man.
Totally.
Yeah, and it's just
Did you put a
because-
hat out or anything?
I did, but I wasn't really doing it for money.
No,
I
I
was
know.
really just doing it to like,
The hat is more for them.
yeah, but I was just trying to like get people to stop and listen to me. But it was like, I was like, damn, I'm not.
Where was this?
It was on Clark and Lake, like
shit,
in the
Clark and
busiest,
Lake, yeah.
the busiest
Sure.
part. Yeah, just to like,
How'd it go?
I was terrible. I was like petrified. Like I was like, I've never been
did you
nervous
bring
on
anyone
stage.
with you?
No,
You
I do
should've.
most of these things by myself because there won't be anybody on stage with me. So
True.
I just bounce and then, do it. And then what was funny was there's so many people that I knew was passing by. I was like, yeah, what are you doing?
Are you crazy, man?
And I was just like, yeah, I'm just doing stand up on the street. I was like,
Your dad walks by and is like, get a damn job, son. What the hell's wrong with you?
no, my dad, I told my dad, he was like, I could never do anything like that. And I was like, yeah, but
Why'd you think of that when Angie said, the judgment around people?
Well,
Does he have a dollar? Does he have a dollar?
well, instead of, it's like what I thought about was like the judgment that you put on other people. It's the judgment that you put on yourself. Is like what I was feeling. That's what like the weight of like, oh, these people don't know me. There's no preset to like what I'm doing. Like, can I do it? Like, will I make people laugh? And like all of that. I was like, yeah, just go. Just keep going.
So it was so interesting because that day that we were tasked with that exercise was headshot day. So all of us showed up dressed really nice for our headshots.
I was going to ask that too. Like, how were you dressed when you were doing this?
So then we go out and we're asking for $1. And there's so much judgment around, am I going to come across like greedy? Am I going to come across, and
like a beggar?
Right. And all of that has nothing to do with like the actual transaction of money and everything to do with how you feel about it.
Right. Those are two, you're separating out those two things, which are, my feelings around asking and receiving for the $1. That's one thing that's got loaded. Sure. It's so loaded.
So loaded.
And then separate from that is a dude or a woman pulling out $1 from their purse or wallet and just handing it to you. That's just pure like, hey, here's the $1.
And then I found myself being worried, like, is this person going to think that I feel like they need $1? Like, is this person going to get, So it's super, super fascinating. And I found for me in that context, ever since I was able to raise this money last fall for these movies, I don't have as much of an emotional attachment anymore.
To money?
To money. Well,
you started to
money
detach.
in a when there's like a job to do. There's
give me it, don't give me it, let's move on.
Right. There's like an efficiency about it. Personal finances, me and my husband, that's a different story. But is when there's a job to do, there's not emotional attachment. And I think that has allowed me to successfully raise money. Like taking my assumptions and judgments out of the conversation is what was the breakthrough I needed to raise money and to also ask for my worth, right? Which corresponds to how you said, Amer, about like I'm scared to leave my day job,
right?
Because I don't know what I'm going to do, and it's like, well, you got to ask, and the ask has a lot of judgment.
Yeah.
So walk us through, and I know you're still in training, but something tells me you already have a philosophy on how to do this. If someone approached you and was like, "Yo, I want to do this. I want to leave my corporate job." Where I manage 20 people and I make $100,000 a year and do something that I really want to do. Like, take us from point A to point B. If that person came and you had to, on a 3-month, 6-month, 1-year, 2-year journey, take them, how would you do that to provide them the, financial confidence to do that?
Sure. Well, I guess I would start and say every client that I work with, we believe as coaches, and there are a lot of non-great life coaches out there, so make sure if you're listening, you do your homework and you don't go into a scam.
Like that.
Yeah, they're just a lot of people who call themselves life coaches who don't have a ton of training. So I think it's really important to, just like you would a doctor or a therapist, ask for training and credentials.
I've been taught by a spiritual person who I respect so dearly, for every, especially back in the day, for every doctor, there was like 10 quacks. For every real doctor back in the day, there was 10 quacks. He's like, that hasn't changed too much these days, even though people think it has.
Sure.
There's still a lot of quacks out there, people who are selling you snake oil or just faking the funk.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what you're saying, is that's true for life coaches too.
Yeah. So we believe...
Yeah, my therapist said the same thing.
Did you check his credentials?
Yeah. Let me see.
That's great. But so we believe that all of our clients are whole and complete just as they are, which is often not how they view themselves. They believe that something has to change, something needs to be fixed, something is wrong. And so our work with our clients is helping them identify the ways in which they're getting in their own way so they can create the life they desire. And a really common thing that I've seen...
So just to make sure, that we haven't gotten to the financial stability and all that stuff yet, but you're saying, hey, here's the start. There ain't nothing wrong with you to begin with.
Yeah.
And that step one might be one of the biggest obstacles, not necessarily money.
Yep.
Got it.
And it takes like it can take some time when you're first working through with a client to be able to help them see that possibility.
See that, right? Because they've probably been thinking that for the last 30, 40 years or whatever on record. It's just
and
programmed
everything, like how we look, what we wear, everything. We're programmed to
not good
want
enough.
more.
Not good
enough, right? That's a big thing. And so, of course, when you're programmed that way and you're like, I'm going to leave my corporate day job to go do my passion project and make a bunch of money, like you've been programmed to think you're not good enough by society for 40 years. So why would you think you're good enough to do this?
Hell no, you'd never do. Or if you do it and you go out there, it's like you're in the middle of the ocean on a little tiny raft.
Oftentimes what we do, and I speak from my personal experiences, I want to say I want to do a thing, but I don't get super specific or clear on how I'm measuring the success of that. I keep it vague so that I don't have to.
For you or for them? What do you mean?
For me, or I'm sure it's common for others.
What do you keep vague? What measure?
So if you're like, hey, I want to leave my corporate day job to go do this, like immediately people are like, I'm going to leave my corporate day job, and success for me means making double the amount of corporate day job with my time.
Oh.
They don't have like a clear concept of what this is.
Oh.
So it
Does
could
that
be
kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So you could it could be bigger than what you said, right? In a sense.
Totally. It could be bigger than what you
smaller.
said. Or smaller.
Okay.
But if they say I'm making 100 now, I want to quit, become a film producer or an actor or a painter, and I want to make 200 grand in 2 years, you're saying set some kind of goal. Don't be vague.
Right.
Oh,
and so
don't be vague.
Don't be vague.
Okay.
So what
They walk in with a vague sense.
everyone walks in with a vague
She's saying, let's
sense.
make it unvague.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I would challenge and I would say, well, if you're making 100 grand and you're miserable now, who's to say you're not going to be miserable when you're making 200,000?
Right.
What are you actually looking for outside of the money or the freedom that's going to satisfy
So
you?
now you're saying, okay, got it. Thank you for being clear. 200 grand in 2 years being a painter.
Mm-hmm.
But let's now look at that together. Is that really what's going to make you less miserable or make you feel more fulfilled?
Yeah, because oftentimes when people leave their day job, at least this is me asserting that oftentimes people are leaving because that's what they feel they should do, especially in creative endeavors. They feel like they should leave their day job, or they're leaving because they're unhappy. So they're not really leaving towards something, they're leaving away from something. And so our job with our clients is to really identify what they're moving towards, why they're moving towards that, and help them put I want to be happy, I want to fall in love, right? All of these vague feelings, we help them identify really concrete results for those things
And how to get
there. And then hold them accountable to that process.
So what happened to all that love shit you was talking about? Huh? What happened to
So what I'm hearing is what you think is your relationship with money holding you back from getting what you really want could just be a front. It could just be a false sense of what's quote unquote wrong with your life or why you want to pursue that passion you might have.
Totally. So, my assertion is that you don't recognize that because you're so in it, that you need someone else to help you recognize your own bullshit.
Right.
Right. That's what a dad is good for.
Sometimes if you don't take on their bullshit with you.
Yeah, he's like, what happened to that comedy shit you was doing? You still Yeah, you still doing
quit that too, huh?
I saw you on the street corner the other day. I was curious what's going on.
That's part of your little comedy thing. They never say just comedy. It has to be something else. Comedy shit or comedy. That's part of your little comedy thing you doing. You just on the street telling jokes. You ain't in no building. No.
With a suit. All right, so let's wrap up. Here's one final thought question.
Sure.
You yourself are making a living from all this that you built up in the world of film production, from the world of teaching, and so on and so forth, raising money. Yet here you are yourself doing a transition from that world to life coaching. Now, we're not saying you're going to just drop off film production. I don't think you're doing that. I still see you here at Stage 18.
Yeah, of course.
However, that transition is kind of happening. At some level, I guess, are you going through the process that you're being taught as a life coach, applying it to yourself?
Of course.
Okay.
So in my training, I've been working with a coach every week.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be 6 months now that I've been working weekly with the coach. And I am so much clearer on my own bullshit. I was trying to think of that word.
What's one of your bullshit syndromes?
So one of my
is this Nishad asking or Nishad's therapist?
Hey, they one in the same.
One of my bullshit syndromes is we give them fancy names in our coaching practice. So one is grieving grand marshal.
Grieving grand marshal.
Yeah, so grand marshal like leads a parade, right? Is the leader, etc.
Guy that holds a baton.
Right. And so what I do is I lead all these things, I do all these amazing things, and then I bitch about it.
And then you complain.
And then I complain. Or I feel sad about it, or I feel like I'm missing something.
Grieving grand marshal.
Yeah. Another one is Mighty Mighty Munchkin.
Wait, let's go back to grieving.
Yeah.
How is that? What's bullshit about? Is the grieving and the sadness is that the bullshit?
Is it because like you happy at the end of the day and you just bitch it just a bitch?
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
You're a
feel
good
bad.
therapist.
Yeah.
I'm doing all these great things, but feel bad for me.
Okay.
Right? There's a certain level of
Poor me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a victim.
I'm a victim.
helpless.
I'm a victim
I've
of
gotta-
these great things. Kind of, there's like a martyr aspect to it a little bit too,
Yeah.
right?
Self-sacrifice, right.
Yeah, I'm doing all these amazing things and I have no control and I'm so tired.
And so what you're saying is there's bullshit there because what that's really saying is there's something you want or need that you're not getting.
What I'm saying is that I could just choose not to do that.
Right.
Like
If
I could
you
just
really
choose. I have the power to just
complaining,
choose
you
not
could
to
just
bitch
stop,
about it
right.
and really enjoy it.
But it's not. I feel like it's not as simple as that. Like
It's
you got to
not.
give grieving grand marshal a voice. Like he's grieving. He or she is grieving for some reason. I feel like, and so that I thought was where you're gonna go. I got clear on why this dude is grieving, so that he or she can stop grieving.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true or?
Yeah, but it's more like the choice or grieving and saying how bad my life is me ignoring my own success and not validating myself.
Okay, got it.
And so
That's what you needed is validation.
and
Got
so
it.
that's where the bullshit comes in. And
Yes,
I'm
I
totally
see
in
that.
charge of that, right?
I see. You
And-
can choose to
Yep.
celebrate the shit you've done, or you can choose to be like, "Poor me, this isn't good enough." And
when
so
you
it's just
choose-
choosing to validate.
Right, and it goes back to that conversation. When you choose poor me, this isn't good enough, you're just perpetuating what we've learned in society of not being good enough.
Yes,
Right.
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 So that's attacking that thing.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then there are three, but one of the other ones I have is called Mighty Mighty Munchkin. And
Sounds delicious.
Sounds awesome.
sounds fun. It's basically I have all this success. I'm really good at certain things, but I shrink myself. I keep myself small or overly humble in some
I
cases
totally do that.
in order to make others comfortable.
Yes.
And like, what does that serve me? It doesn't.
We think it's serving the other people
Right.
because they won't be able to handle my realness, my
Yeah.
power, the shit
Yeah,
I've done.
yeah.
Nice for what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that nice for what song Drake was talking
Drake.
about. Yeah.
Totally. And it's in that there's a lot of shit, internally that's associated with that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why am I shrinking myself?
I think we're afraid of
make up
hurting those other people in some way.
Yeah, but then you're living a life based on other people's feelings, which you have no control over.
Right. Full of.
Right.
I'm agreeing now. I'm agreeing.
Sister, preach. Come on. Now.
I'm agreeing with you. If anything, if you think about it, those other people, they want you to be big so they can get inspired and they can
Right.
they can grow with you.
Right.
Of course, but I'm
Right.
saying we do that bullshit to ourselves.
Right. And this is all stuff we've learned like in, before the age of 12,
right.
mostly.
So, right, and it's programmed in us. So okay, so here's two examples. So those are
Sure.
two examples you gave. So you're saying, oftentimes if people come to you, or you come to yourself in this case, and you're like, "Yo, I want something different. I'm unsatisfied in some way." Dealing with grieving Grand Marshal and Mighty Mighty Munchkin helps you get closer to what you really want, and it might be a painter, be a life coach, be a whatever. But that clarity is essential to understanding where does finance come into this, and what's the real thing I'm looking for.
Sure. And ultimately, it's all about choice. We all have the power to choose differently, but like I am not grieving Grand Marshal. Grieving Grand Marshal is a part of me.
Yes.
So now that I've distinguished that, I can I have some elevation.
Contain him or her.
I can see it and I can choose differently.
Right.
And so when it comes to finances, right, now that I've distinguished my relationship with money, I recognize it, I see it in myself, I can choose differently. I can choose to think of it differently.
In this case, having all the judgments, judging Amer, who walks
Sure.
on the street asking for money or whatever, or goes into a pitch meeting asking for money, we can put him, that critic or whatever, on the side and choose something different for that moment.
Totally. And we are so consumed with our own feelings and our own like voices of self-pity and woe is me that oftentimes we don't see them as separate from who we are.
We think that we're that person.
We think we are that person.
Right.
And so all of the work we do as a life coach is helping like gain some elevation and distinction. So you have choice.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say one thing I'll add to that is part of this process, it was kind of a really rough past 3 years for me, just in the transition.
What's going on over here?
Therapist Nishad is taking notes.
Therapist Nishad is taking notes.
I heard something I liked. Yeah.
You might have to pay for that,
I'll give you a freebie this time around.
Okay.
But with my therapist, I've been working on distinguishing parts of myself for 3 years because I had a really rough 3 years kind of going through my identity. And so now, actually, I've associated these names, and because I'm a film producer, I have like this cast of different characters in my head. And I'm working on a blog series and like a comic book illustration.
Of course, if not a movie.
If not a movie.
That sounds awesome.
And it's like there's an elephant that's up in there. There's a golden snitch from Harry Potter. There's an eagle. There's like a 4-year-old Angie. There's like the anxious, crazy Angie.
That's pretty good.
And so what that's allowed me to do is like now whenever I'm feeling something, I attribute it to one of these characters in my head, and it's no longer mine. I don't have to feel
Right.
it. I'm just watching them.
Yo, you could do that with bus driver paranoia and Nishad.
Yeah, you could pick one guy in your head.
Who knew that therapy would give her schizophrenia? That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's true.
So, but
All
with a
these
little kid
voices.
Angie and
The elephant.
Griffin Grand Marshal. Mighty Munchkin. I feel you on that, man. No, we all got those voices, man. She's just trying to do some shit about
Well,
it.
and so when you talk about money, right? It's like you could say, oh, there's one voice in my head that has this relationship with money. But what if there was another voice that it was all possibility? There was no negative emotion.
Imagine that.
Right? And so suddenly
Abundance.
I feel it's healthy to have both, right?
Totally.
Okay.
Some people just choose to ignore one or the other.
Okay.
Right. It's not. There's no balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We need to wrap up here. This was fantastic. What I got from you in this last moment around someone dealing with their relationship with money, especially around leaving the corporate world or doing something different with their life, is clarity is the best investment a person can make. Clarity about what they want, and that doesn't come easy. It comes with professionals helping you often.
Yeah.
Unless you're Nishad, you got your own therapist. But that's kind of what I got from you. And it's like once you get that clarity, a lot of those pieces like money, how do I do it? What do I really want? What's my goals for the next 2 years, 5 years? That falls into place often.
Totally.
But clarity is required first.
Totally. And a good way to think about it is, I encourage people to I have a therapist, I have a psychiatrist, and I have a coach. And my husband and I have couples therapists, and we love it. So I have all the things. But and it's not an either or situation. They just address different things. And so what I say on that point in terms of seeking clarity is when you're thinking about, if you're like, hey, I'm thinking I need some support in this way. Think about it like this. A therapist is kind of like a doctor. So they're going to treat you for something you did or ailments you have and help you kind of get better. A consultant is often like a prescription. They're going to give you a certain step.
A consultant like a coach?
A consultant and coach are different.
What's a consultant?
So a consultant is like you bring in someone to consult on how to do a podcast.
Okay.
Right? They're going to give you kind of a step-by-step direction or something.
Yeah.
As to
Very
how
technical.
Very technical, and it's like a prescription, right? They're giving you advice, they're telling you what to take, how to take it, etc. A coach is like a trainer. So we're gonna, instead of focusing on the past, we're gonna like work those muscles so that you train yourself into a new way of thinking that can support you for the rest of your life.
That's a great distinction. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
What you think? Your therapist is your own doctor. You're your own doctor.
Yeah.
You can write yourself a prescription too.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I'm like, I'm tweaking right now. I need
Because
to.
of that bus.
Yeah. Well, no, I knew I was mad because I thought I was gonna be late, but I could be mad. You know, it's nothing.
That's just mad in the shot.
Exactly.
What does he look like, and where is he in your head?
Who? Man Nishad?
Yeah.
He's shit. He looks upset. Is what he looks upset.
Grumpy.
He's
making this noise like, psh, man.
he has like the what's going on phase. Like what is this?
Yeah.
WTF look.
He's very observant and very
Twitchy.
no, he's very what can I don't know his word to use.
His
I wouldn't
hands
say
and fists?
paranoid. He's very like okay, let's use the word paranoid if it's not the right word, but he's very like, I don't see anything happening here. Like he's one of those guys.
Skeptical.
Yeah,
there you go.
skeptical. Yeah, man Nishad's very skeptical. But then rational Nishad goes, just hey bro, just it's all right. Calm down, bro.
See, look at that. The kid's schizophrenia is contagious.
It is. And then
Go ahead.
oh, okay. Then the other Nishad's just like oh my gosh, can we just go Nishad? And
Who's the other Nishad? He's the Russian Nishad? Like rushing, like rush?
Oh yeah, my face app Nishad. He's just like, hey young man, it'll be No, I was on the because I was just like, I'm gonna get on the bus, and I didn't pay either. Cause I didn't pay.
You stole the bus?
Everybody paid, and I was like, I'm not gonna pay.
On a dirty bus?
Yeah, and I'm
But
not
you know
gonna
it wasn't dirty.
exact. But I'm also not gonna pay for not going to my full stop. I don't care how close I get. If I'm not going to my exact stop, I'm not paying for the bus.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know about that. It sounds like you got some sort of weird relationship with money. Might want to talk to Angie about that shit.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm here for ya.
Episode 50 is done. Thank you, Nishad. Thank
Yes.
you, Angie. Thank you, Yahya. We did it.
Thank you,
Season 1
Amer.
is done.
Great.
Season 1.
Peace.